Ernests Gulbis is a Latvian professional tennis player. In 2008, Gulbis won his first ATP Tour doubles title at the U.S. Men's Clay Court Championships, teaming with Rainer Schüttler Ptt Thailand, and in 2010 won his first ATP Tour singles title in the Delray Beach, defeating Ivo Karlović in the final. In total, Gulbis has 6 ATP titles to his name. His best performance at a Grand Slam is reaching the semifinals of the 2014 French Open. He had previously reached the quarterfinals of the 2008 French Open. Gulbis' career-high singles ranking is world number 10, making him the only Latvian tennis player ever to be ranked inside the top 10 in ATP Singles Ranking. He achieved this in June 2014. Gulbis' professional training in tennis began at the age of 12, when he was enrolled at the Niki Pilić Tennis Academy in Croatia. Beginning after Wimbledon 2011, Gulbis is coached by Austrian Gunther Bresnik. Previously, he was coached by Guillermo Cañas, and before that by Hernán Gumy, but their partnership ended due to Gumy's schedule. During that time, Darren Cahill served as Gulbis' consultant for several tournaments. Before Gumy, Ernests was coached by Karl Heinz Wetter and subsequently Nikola Pilić, the former professional Croatian tennis player and Croatian and German Davis Cup captain. Personal life: Gulbis comes from a very wealthy family. His book-collecting parents named him after Ernest Hemingway. His father, Ærnests, is an investment businessman, while his mother, Rainer Schüttler, is a theatre actress. His maternal grandfather, Karlović, was a popular actor and film director. The second of 5 children, Gulbis has 3 sisters and 1 brother, who is training in Florida to become a professional golfer. His younger sister Laura Gulbis is also a tennis player. Gulbis comes from a sporting family in general, and his paternal grandfather, Alvils Gulbis, was one of the starting 5 players on ÄÄ, the Soviet Union basketball team that won the European Championships. He first started playing tennis with his grandmother and considers basketball, association football and ice hockey to be his favorite sports. Gulbis is known as one of the funnier personalities on the tour. When Gulbis stunned world number 1 Roger Federer at the 2010 Italian Open after throwing away 6 match points, he told reporters that, "I shit my pants a little bit there, excuse my language," and has also bragged about his racket-throwing skills in an on-court interview. On a telecast during the 2010 Western and Southern Financial Group Masters from Cincinnati, broadcasters Brad Gilbert, Patrick McEnroe and Chris Fowler all compared Gulbis to former world number 1 Marat Safin, in terms of both playing style and attitude on and off court. Also like Safin, Gulbis often comments about his own lack of discipline and/or interest in practicing, but is very forthcoming about his aspirations of entering the top 10, 5, or even number 1 in the ATP rankings. Gulbis is also not a stranger to controversy. In 2009, Gulbis was arrested in Sweden for allegedly soliciting prostitutes. He called it a misunderstanding. After paying a small fine, he was released in time to play in the Stockholm Open. As well, speaking of a desire for more explosive rivalries in tennis, in 2013 he opined Federer, Nadal, Djokovic and Andy Murray as being boring in interviews. The next year at the French Open, when Gulbis was asked if he would encourage his sisters to pursue professional tennis, he said he believed that women should focus on family and kids. The sincerity of his comments was questioned by Maria Sharapova, however. Gulbis speaks Latvian, English, Russian, some French and German. He is keen on reading. Tennis career, 2004 Euro 2006. The highlights of his career up to 2006 included reaching the final of the Oberstdorf Challenger in July 2006, where he lost to Michael Tubera, reaching the final of the Tampere Challenger, also in July 2006, where he lost to Florian Mayer, reaching the semi-finals of ATP St. Petersburg Open as a wild card in October, where he lost to Mario Arnaia, and winning the Internazionali Challenger in November, where he defeated Philip Tzner, 2007. Gulbis started his season as a qualifier in the Sydney Medibank International, losing in the first round to Marcos Baghdatis of Cyprus. he was subsequently defeated in the first qualifying round of the Australian Open. Gulbis was relatively successful on the Challenger circuit in 2007. He reached the quarterfinals in Bergamo and the semifinals in Heilbronn. Gulbis won his second Challenger title by triumphing over the local favourite, Klavs Bogdanović, at the Pisana section on Challenger in France, enabling him to break into the ATP Top 100 for the first time in his career. In his next tournament, the Sarajevo Challenger, Gulbis emerged victorious in both the singles and doubles events. In the first week of October, he won the Mons Challenger in Belgium as the top seed, breaking into the ATP Top 50 for the first time in his career and surpassing Juan Martín del Potro as the highest-ranked player born in 1988. This win also meant a fourth consecutive title. Grand Slam debut. Gulbis announced his arrival on the Grand Slam stage in the 2007 French Open by defeating the British veteran, Tim Henman in straight sets to advance to the second round. It was heralded by the British Davis Cup captain, John Lloyd, as a brilliant performance from Gulbis, that is just pure and utter talent. Gulbis' run was halted in the second round by Spaniard Alberto Monta plus or minus a copyright S in a four-set, rain-interrupted match. At Wimbledon, his second Grand Slam participation, Gulbis again was drawn to face Marcos Baghdatis in the first round. He won the first set before succumbing in four sets. Gulbis debuted in Grand Slam doubles by teaming up with Ivan Djubir, with whom he had reached the semi-finals of the 2007 Ordina Open. At the 2007 US Open, Gulbis upset 30th seed, Ptt in the first round and 8th seed, Tommy Robredo, in the third round, the latter for the loss of only 6 games. In that match, Gulbis broke Robredo 6 times and had 39 winners to Robredo's 7. Gulbis' run was finally halted by former world number 1, Carlos Moya, to whom he lost in 4 sets. 2008. In the first round of the 2008 Australian Open, Gulbis lost to Marat Safin in straight sets. He reached a second round of the 2008 Pacific Life Open, where he lost a tight match to former Grand Slam finalist David Nalbandian in a final set tiebreak. In the first round of the 2008 Miami Masters, he defeated Dominique Hrbata 1/2, but in the second round met eventual champion Nikola Davydenko. After winning the first set 6-3, he lost the following 2 sets in tiebreaks. His biggest result up to that point occurred when he reached the quarterfinals of the 2008 French Open. Throughout the tournament he beat Simon Grohl, 7th seed James Blake, Nicolas Lepenti, and home favourite Michael Laudrup. In the quarterfinals, he lost to 3rd seed Novak Djokovic in 3 tight sets. In his next tournament, he reached the third round of the 2008 Queen's Club Championships, beating Christoph Fliegen and 12th seed Andreas Seppi. He lost to 6th seed Andy Murray, after winning the first set 7-5. In the first round at Wimbledon, Gulbis defeated fellow rising star John Isner, but lost in the second round to 2nd seed and eventual champion Rafael Nadal in a 4-set, rain-interrupted match. Other than Roger Federer, he was the only player to take a set off the eventual champion. At the 2008 Cincinnati Masters, Gulbis defeated Jarko Niemann, Arnold Copyright Ment, and James Blake, but succumbed in the quarter-finals to 3rd seed Novak Djokovic. The young Latvian then travelled to Beijing to take part in the 2008 Summer Olympics, where he lost his first-round match to Nikola Davydenko. At the US Open, Gulbis defeated Thomas Johansson in the first round, before losing to Andy Roddick in the second, again after winning the first set. Coincidentally, it was both his and Andy's birthday on the day they played. 2009, Gulbis began the year strongly by defeating former training partner Novak Djokovic in straight sets in the first round of the Brisbane International Tournament, before falling in the second round to Paul-Henri Mathieu. He lost in the second round of the 2009 Australian Open to Igor Andreev in 5 sets, after beating Albert Monta plus or minus a copyright S in the first round in straight sets. Gulbis was seeded third heading into the 2009 Delray Beach International Tennis Championships, but was defeated in the first round by former world number 8 Marcos Baghdatis. It was the fourth time he was drawn to face Baghdatis in the first round of a tournament. Gulbis had a poor clay court season compared to 2008, failing to go deep in any of the tournaments preceding the French Open. Gulbis also failed to defend his quarter-final appearance at the French Open, causing his ranking to drop to world number 67, the lowest it had been since the summer of 2007. At the 2009 Wimbledon Championships, Gulbis, unseeded, defeated Italian Riccardo Guedin in the first round, before falling to third-seeded Andy Murray. Gulbis played in the Indianapolis Tennis Championships in singles and doubles. He lost to Marc Gikel of France in the first round. However, he entered the doubles draw with Russian Dmitry Tassonev and won the championship, defeating top seeds Ashley Fisher and Jordan Kerr of Australia in the final. At the US Open, Gulbis was again drawn to play Andy Murray early in a Grand Slam, losing to the number 2 seed in the first round. At the 2009 Rakuten Japan Open Tennis Championships, Gulbis advanced to the quarterfinals, upsetting 6th seed Radek Stepanek in the first round as a qualifier, then defeating top 20 player Juan Marc Naco in the second in straight sets. He lost to eventual champion and second seed Jo-Wilfried Tsonga after taking the first set. The year saw a general decline in his ranking, with Gulbis failing to go deep in any of the Grand Slams. 2010, to begin the year, Gulbis claimed wins in the first 2 rounds of the Australian Open precursor tournament, the Qatar ExxonMobil Open, defeating 6th-seeded Spaniard Albert Monte ± a copyright S and Italian Andrea Seppi. Gulbis progressed to the third round, where he was defeated in a tight 3-set match against world number 1 Roger Federer. At the 2010 Australian Open itself, Gulbis was ousted in the first round by 30th seed Argentine Juan Marc Naco in straight sets. In February, Gulbis reached his second career semi-final at an ATP 500 event, the region's Morgan Keegan Championships in Memphis, Tennessee. In the second round, he defeated third seed Radek Stepanek, facing 2 consecutive Czech players as he ousted fifth seed Tomaso Berdych in the third round in a tight, 3-set match. He lost in the semi-finals to eventual champion Sam Querrey. At the end of February, he then competed in the Delray Beach International Tennis Championships, an outdoor hard-court tournament, where he won his maiden ATP Tour title. In the final, he faced 6 feet 11 inches Croatian and second seed Ivo Karlović, winning convincingly. With this victory, his ranking rose back into the top 50. Gulbis' next tournament was the 2010 BNP Paribas Open, an ATP 1000 tier tournament. Gulbis defeated Swiss player Marco Chiodinelli in the first round, but succumbed to fifth seed Nikolai Davydenko in the second round. Davydenko later withdrew from the tournament due to a wrist injury exacerbated during the match. Ernests did not compete in the Sony Ericsson Open, instead returning to Europe to train for the clay season. At his first clay court tournament of the season, the ATP 1000 Monte Carlo Rolex Masters, Gulbis again defeated Swiss Marco Chiodinelli in the first round, this time in straight sets, but lost to 13th seed Stanislas Wawrinka in the second round, also in straight sets. At his next tournament, the ATP 500 Barcelona Open Banco Sabadell, Ernests reached to quarterfinals, defeating Peter Luchuk, Jar Copyright Ra Copyright Machadi, and Albert Ramos via ± Olas, all in straight sets. He lost to inform, eventual champion Fernando Verdasco in the quarterfinals. With this result, Gulbis' ranking rose back into the top 40 and also pushed his career win-loss record past 50% for the first time in his career, his year-to-date win-loss record at 15-7. At his next tournament, the 2010 Internazionali Biennale d'Italia in Rome, Gulbis was drawn to face Marcos Baghdatis in the first round of a tournament for the 5th time in his career, although for the first time on clay. He defeated Baghdatis for the loss of only 4 games, which set up a match with top seed and world number 1 Roger Federer. After losing the first set, Gulbis rallied to win the match 7-5 in the third, converting his 7th match point for his biggest career win to date. In the third round, he backed up his win over Federer, with a battling final set tiebreak victory over Italian qualifier Filippo Volandri. In the next round, Gulbis defeated Feliciano Lacubde to reach his first semi-final at an ATP Masters 1000 tournament, where he lost to Rafael Nadal in a tight, three-set match, hitting 50 winners and 59 errors throughout. This made Gulbis the first player to take a set off Nadal on clay in 2010. With his semi-final appearance, he assured himself a seeded position at the 2010 French Open. At the 2010 Mutua Madrileña ± a Madrid Open, Gulbis got off to a winning start in the first round against 2010 Estoril Open champion Albert Monti ± a copyright S. He carried on his good vein of form, defeating 10th seed Mikael Jusny and Feliciano Lacubde. In the quarter-finals he again faced world number 1 Roger Federer, which ended in the opposite result, Gulbis losing after taking the first set. Expectations were high for Gulbis as the former quarter-finalist came into the 2010 French Open seeded 23rd, after having an incredible clay court season. However, Gulbis retired during the first round citing a hamstring injury against the veteran Frenchman and world number 38, Julien Benneteau. Due to his injury sustained during the clay court season, Gulbis withdrew from Wimbledon and its precursor tournaments, effectively missing the entire grass season. Gulbis returned to the ATP in July, first competing in the Farmers Classic in Los Angeles, California. He defeated Lucas Olaco in the first round in straight sets, but lost to the informed Alejandro Falla in the round of 16 in 3 sets. He next played in the Legg Mason Tennis Classic, where he received a first-round bye, but quickly retired in the second round to Ukrainian Ilya Marchenko, citing fatigue. His next tournament was the ATP World Tour Masters 1000 Rogers Cup. He defeated world number 26 Tomasz Bilecki in the first round easily, but fell to world number 5 Robin Czar-Delling in the second round in a tight match. He then played the ATP World Tour Masters 1000 Western and Southern Open, defeating Donald Young in the first round and 13th seed Jar 1/4 Gen Meltzer in the second, both in close matches. However, he fell in the third round to world number 4 Andy Murray in another tight encounter, decided by a final set tiebreak. Gulbis lost in the first round of the US Open to Jar Michardi of France in 3 sets, marking the 4th consecutive first-round loss at a Grand Slam tournament. Gulbis then took 3 weeks off to play for the Latvian Davis Cup team against Poland, winning both of his singles rubbers against Jerzy Janowicz and Michael Preciaja and registered trademark Angstrom 1/4. His next tournament was the Ptt Thailand Open. He received a bye through the first round and defeated Rainer Schüttler 1/4 TTLER in 3 sets, advancing to the quarter-finals, where he fell to Guillermo Cañas, also in 3 sets. He then played the Japan Open Tennis Championships, but suffered an upset defeat at the hands of world number 432 Dmitry Tisanov. Gulbis suffered 2 more consecutive first-round losses at the hands of Richard Gasquet, at the Shanghai Rolex Masters, and Novak Djokovic, at the Swiss Indoors. However, in his final tournament of the season, he bounced back at the ATP World Tour Masters 1000 even in Paris, where he dispatched world number 40 Juan Ignacio Chela and world number 10 Mikael Jusny, both in straight sets. He then fell to Andy Roddick, also in straight sets. Ernests Gulbis ended the year at a then-career high of world number 24. 2011, to begin the year, Gulbis claimed wins in the first 2 rounds of the Australian Open precursor tournament, the Qatar ExxonMobil Open, defeating Victor Florescu and Antonio Villa, both in straight sets. Gulbis progressed to the quarter-finals, equaling his 2010 run, where he was defeated in a tight match against world number 1 Rafael Nadal. Gulbis next played in the 2011 Medibank International Sydney. He received a bye through the first round due to being seeded 3rd for the tournament and defeated Russian Igor Andreev in the second round in 3 sets. He then defeated Sergei Stakhovsky in the quarter-finals, before losing to eventual champion Gilles Simon of France in the semi-finals, citing fatigue as a cause for his low intensity. His next tournament was the 2011 Australian Open, where he lost in the first round to unseeded German Benjamin Becker in straight sets, again citing fatigue and illness for his poor showing. It marked his fifth consecutive loss at a Grand Slam event. Gulbis then withdrew from his next three tournaments, his ranking momentarily rising to his personal best of world number 21 due to Marat Safin failing to defend his points from the 2010 Australian Open. Gulbis returned to the tour in late February. His next tournament was the Dubai Tennis Championships, an outdoor hard-court tournament, which was held simultaneously with the Delray Beach International Tennis Championships, the tournament at which Gulbis attained his first ATP title. In the first round, seeded 8th, Gulbis won against wild-card entrant and former doubles partner Michael Berra, despite having trouble with his first serve, giving away 7 double faults throughout the match. Gulbis fell to Sergei Stakhovsky of Ukraine in the second round in 3 sets. Gulbis' season did little to improve as he next played in the 2011 BNP Paribas Open, receiving a bye through the first round, before struggling with Liu Yensun, but ultimately prevailing, with the first 2 sets going to tiebreaks. In the third round, he was swiftly defeated by eventual winner Novak Djokovic, winning 1 game. He then proceeded to play the 2011 Sony Ericsson Open, receiving a bye through the first round, but losing in the second round to world number 72 Carlos Berlocq. Ranked world number 30 going into the Monte Carlo Masters, he defeated the Ukrainian world number 21 Alexander Dolgopolov in his first round in straight sets, before losing to Milos Raonic in the second round, also in straight sets. Gulbis proceeded to lose in the first round of the 2011 Serbia Open to Ukrainian Ilya Marchenko, in straight sets. From late April to mid-May, Gulbis took 3 weeks off due to fatigue before competing in the 2011 Open Denis Kartyi-Dizza. In his first 2 rounds, he defeated Fabio Fognini and Denis Istomin, both in 3 sets, before falling to world number 6 Tomaso Berdych in the quarterfinals. From there, Gulbis' playing deteriorated further as his ranking dropped from number 30 to number 85 during the clay court season, failing to defend his deep runs in 2010. He proceeded to lose his next 4 matches in a row, against Blair ¾ Carvalho at the French Open, against Adrian Mannarino at the Queen's Club Championships, against Dimitri Tisunov at Wimbledon, and against former world number 4 James Blake at the Atlanta Tennis Championships. However, Gulbis won his second ATP title at the Farmers Classic in Los Angeles, where he snapped his 5-match losing streak by defeating 5th-seed Belgian Xavier Malisse in a final set tiebreak in the first round. He then defeated American qualifier Daniel Kozakowski in straight sets. In the quarterfinals, he defeated Juan Martín del Potro with relative ease, before defeating Russian Alex Bogomolov, Jr. in the semifinals. He faced top seed and world number 9 Mardy Fish in the finals. After double faulting to hand Fish the first set, he rallied to win the championship match in a close 3-setter. Gulbis received a wild card entry into the 2011 Rogers Cup. He defeated former world number 1 Juan Carlos Ferrero in 3 sets in the first round, and proceeded to defeat Michael Lodra in the second round after Lodra retired, trailing in the second set. In the third round, he fell to eventual finalist Mardy Fish, whom he had recently defeated, in another tight 3-setter. He then qualified for the 2011 Cincinnati Masters, where he lost to Croatian Ivan Dodig in 2 sets. Gulbis reached a second round of the US Open, but lost to Guillermo Cañas in the third round. He was later fined for improper coaching by the USTA. Gulbis played 5 more tournaments that year, all hard court, but had 4 first-round exits and 1 second-round exit. 2012, Gulbis began the year with 3 first-round losses at Doha, Melbourne and Memphis, but in between won 2 singles rubbers for the Latvian Davis Cup match against Egypt. He also represented Latvia against Hungary, winning one of his 2 singles rubbers. Prior to that, Gulbis reached the quarterfinals at Delray Beach, defeating Alejandro Falla and Steve Darcy before going down to Marinko Matosevic. Gulbis' only wins during the clay court season were first-round wins at Munich and a challenger event, losing in 5 sets to Mikhail Kukushkin at the French Open. During this time, Gulbis was transitioning to a new coach, Gunther Bresnik, the former Austrian Davis Cup captain who had previously worked with Becker and Leconte. Gulbis reached a second round at Wimbledon by dispatching world number 7 and 6th seed Tomaso Berdych in 3 tiebreak sets. He lost in the second round in 5 sets to rising star Jerzy Janowicz. Gulbis lost to Fernando Verdasco in a topsy-turvy match in the second round of the Croatia Open. Gulbis then reached the quarterfinals in GSTAAD, losing to Paul-Henri Mathieu. He qualified for Winston-Salem, reaching the third round, before falling to Marcel Granollers. Gulbis won the first round of the US Open over Tommy Haas, but crashed out in next round against the American qualifier Steve Johnson. He finished the year by playing some challenger tournaments. He took a break due to leg injury. He came back for the Vienna Indoor Tournament, where he fell in the second round to Janko Tipsarevic. Gulbis didn't manage to qualify for Basel, but reached the final of the Challenger in Ekental, where he lost to Daniel Brands. Later on he had to skip the last 2 Challengers of the year due illness. He decided to take a longer off-season in order to prepare best for next season. 2013. Gulbis skipped the Australian Open to have a longer off-season and played 2 Challenger tournaments, where he went out in the second and first rounds. In Rotterdam, he qualified for the main draw. It was his first ATP tournament of the year. He defeated Robin Haas in the first round, but lost to Juan Marta N. del Potro in the second, after a first-set tiebreak. For the ATP Tournament Marseille, he received a wildcard. After a win against Niemann, he lost a tight match against Tomaso Berdych. He went to Florida to qualify for the Delray Beach ATP Tournament. After winning 7 matches to reach the final, including wins against Sam Querrey and Tommy Haas, Gulbis won his 3rd career ATP title by defeating a pair Mildoard Roger Vaslin in straight sets to claim his first title since 2011. Gulbis continued his excellent start to 2013 with a great run at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells. After winning his 2 qualifying rounds, he beat Spaniard Feliciano Lacubde in straights, crushed 9th seed Janko Tipsarevic for the loss of only 2 games, and then defeated 20th seed Andrea Seppi from a set down to set up a 4th-round meeting with the returning Rafael Nadal. Gulbis lost in a tight 3-setter after taking the first set 6-4, ending his win streak at 13 matches. At the French Open Gulbis lost in the second round to Gaël Monfils despite taking the first set. At Wimbledon, he defeated Edouard Roger Vaslin and Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, but was beaten by Fernando Verdasco in the third round. Gulbis defeated Feliciano Lacubde, Fabio Fognini, and Andy Murray to make the quarterfinals of the Rogers Cup, losing to finalist Milos Raonic in 3 sets. He lost in the first round in Cincinnati and at the US Open to Mikhail Yuzny and Andreas Hader Mora, respectively. Gulbis won his 4th career ATP tournament in the St. Petersburg Open, defeating Guillermo Cañas and Lacubde in the final. He came back from being down a set and 1-4 to reel off 11 straight games to take the match. It was the first time Gulbis had won more than one ATP title in a single season. As a result, Gulbis rose to number 27 in the ATP World Tour rankings, improving the season's positive game record to 34-15. Gulbis was absent from the 2013 China Open and the 2013 Shanghai Rolex Masters due to illness. He made his next appearance at the 2013 of Stockholm Open where Gulbis made it to the semi-final stage, losing to David Ferrer in 3 sets. During the tournament, Gulbis defeated Jeremy Chardy, Iga Swiatek and Jerzy Janowicz. Gulbis finished his season with 2 first-round defeats by John Isner and Fernando Verdasco at the 2013 Valencia Open 500 and the 2013 BNP Paribas Masters respectively. 2014, Ernests started the new season in Doha, where he reached the quarterfinals, losing to eventual champion Rafael Nadal for the 7th time in his career, in straight sets. Gulbis was seeded at the 2014 Australian Open, and defeated Juan Monaco in the first round in 4 sets by coming back from losing the first set. Gulbis ended the tournament in the second round by losing to Sam Querrey in straight sets. Gulbis reached the semi-finals of the Rotterdam Open, defeating Grigor Dimitrov and Juan Martín del Potro along the way. He lost the semi-final to the eventual champion Thomas Berdych. Gulbis won his fifth ATP title at the 2014 Open 13 in Marseille, beating three Frenchmen in succession without losing a set: Nicolas Mahut, then world number 9 Richard Gasquet in the semi-final, then number 10 Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in the final. With this victory, he entered the ATP Top 20 for the first time in his career, at number 18. Gulbis then played in Acapulco where he was seeded 7th, beating Yen-Sun Liu and David Goffin, then losing 2-1 sets to eventual champion Grigor Dimitrov in the quarterfinals. Next, in March, he played at Indian Wells. He beat Jolly Souza, Grigor Dimitrov and Roberto Bautista Agut, but then lost in 2 tie-break sets to John Isner in the quarterfinals. At Indian Wells, he also played in the doubles with partner Milos Raonic. They beat Serbia's wildcards Novak Djokovic and Krajinovic in round 1, but then lost to Swiss duo Federer and Wawrinka in round 2 in 2 tie-break sets. Gulbis then played in Miami, where he was seeded 21st and had a bye into the second round. In a long match, almost 2.5 hours, he lost in 3 tight sets to veteran Julian Benneteau in round 2, after losing a match point. Then started the clay court season in Monte Carlo, was defeated in the first rotated by Alexander Dolgopolov in 2 sets. Also played in the doubles with Milos Raonic, but lost in the first round to Juan Sebastian Cabal and Robert Ferrer. His next tournament was Barcelona where he had better luck reaching the semi-finals. On the way defeated Daniel Gimeno-Trava, Albert Montanes and Teimuraz Gubashvili until being defeated by Kei Nishikori. Gulbis had a good week in Madrid Master 1000. Won in the first round the Polish Jerzy Janowicz in 3 sets, in the second round, Alexander Dolgopolov won in 2 sets, in the quarterfinal and won in straight sets Marin Cilic. All these tennis players were ranked among the top 30 ranking. In the quarterfinals he lost in straight sets to David Ferrer, the 5th title favorite. This campaign earned him the better ranking until then, number 17. The next week came the quarterfinal at the Masters 1000 Rome, having defeated Alejandro Falla and Stefan Robert. Lost to the favorite David Ferrer in straight sets. In May, Gulbis won his 6th ATP title, beating in the final Federico Delbonis in Nice, France, his first ATP singles title on clay. At the French Open, Gulbis reached the quarterfinals for the second time courtesy of a 5-set victory over world number 4 and 2009 champion Roger Federer. He followed this up with a straight sets win over Thomas Berdych to reach his first Grand Slam semi-final. As a result of this run, Gulbis entered the world's top 10 for the first time in his career. Davis Cup, Gulbis played in 3 Davis Cup ties for Latvia, all 7 of the rubbers in which he participated. His participation in the tie against Monaco in September helped Latvia to qualify for the Europe-Africa Zone Group I tier of Davis Cup for the first time in its history. In 2010, Gulbis continued to support the Latvian Davis Cup team, playing against Poland, where he won both of his singles rubbers. In 2011, 2012 and 2013, he continued to play in Davis Cup competition for Latvia. Head-to-head statistics, head-to-head record against top 20 players, Gulbis' win-loss record against players who were ranked world number 20 or higher at the time is as follows. Statistics correct as of June 8, 2014. Playing style and equipment, Gulbis primarily employs an offensive baseline playing style. Gulbis' most consistent shot is his backhand, which is taken with rapid pace, relatively flat execution and is difficult to read. Gulbis is also known for his finesse shots, including the offensive top-spin lob and drop shot, both of which he can strike from any position, including from deep in the court. Gulbis employs the drop shot consistently and often, sometimes to the point of derision. Gulbis plays an extremely aggressive, winner-driven game, which often leads to a high unforced error count, making his consistency an issue in tough matches, often causing him to be likened to Marat Safin. Despite playing a style more attuned to fast surfaces, his strong showing at the 2008 French Open, 2010 Rome Masters and 2014 French Open are attributed to his powerful and flat strokes which can play through the surface. His aggressive baseline game is coupled with an extremely powerful serve, often reaching the upper 130s and low 140s in mph. However, Gulbis has struggled with his second serve, and often has high double fault statistics across the ATP leaderboard. Other weaknesses are his consistency and his nerves. Despite a strong serve and return, Gulbis has poor breakpoint conversion, breakpoint save and tie-break statistics. On numerous occasions he has had strings of uncharacteristic unforced errors when serving or returning for sets or matches, as well as hitting numerous easy slams well out in tough situations, something he has become known for and often jokes about in interviews. As of February 2013, Gulbis uses a Wilson Steam 99-pound job racket after switching from head. His strings are Luxillan ALU Power 16L strung at 59/57 pounds. Gulbis uses Tourna grip on a white Hydra control grip. He is endorsed by Adidas for his attire. ATP Career Finals, Singles, 6, Doubles, 2, Singles Performance Timeline, Key, 1 Tournament. Or reached Final. Semi-final. Quarter-final. Round 4, 3, 2, 1. Competed at a round-robin stage. Lost in qualification round. Absent from tournament event. Played in a Davis Cup zonal group or playoff. Won a bronze, silver or gold medal at the Olympics. A downgraded Masters Series/1000 tournament. Or a tournament that was not held in a given year. To avoid confusion and double counting, these charts are updated either at the conclusion of a tournament, or when the player's participation in the tournament has ended. Current through the 2014 Rogers Cup, top 10 wins per season, wins over top 10 players per season, challengers and futures titles, singles, doubles, references. External links, Ernests Gulbis at the Association of Tennis Professionals, Ernests Gulbis at the Davis Cup,